Hello and welcome to Boardroom 2030 here at the Eden Project in St Austell. Today we have hundreds of business people and members who are coming together to talk about sustainability in business, how to make businesses more sustainable, cleaner, energy efficient, and essentially work more in tangent with the environment rather than its continued destruction that we see at the moment. So we've so far had a session where people have got to know each other a little bit, understand what each other's businesses are. At the moment there's a fantastic live boardroom session going on where they're really talking about the problems facing businesses at the moment and how particularly young people can work with businesses to help solve the challenges that they face. After a networking lunch later, there's going to be a great talk by Altman, a designer who helps businesses to talk about how to make their businesses more beautiful and sustainable. And so what we're going to do during the network lunch is speak with lots of different people here about their businesses, about why they're here today, and about what they're doing to try and make themselves more sustainable. So we'll see you in a little bit for some conversations with some great business people here at the Eden Project at Boardroom 2030.
Well, fantastic. Thank you very much to Alex for that one. We were invited to tag along by Matt Hocking, host of Optimism in Action here at Chaos TV. And we're now going to join Alex live to see what's been going on. Alex, hello.
Can do you in a bit.
Oh, hello, Pudge. Is that you there?
It is me, Alex. Thank you for getting in touch with us, mate. Looks like you've got your hands full there. What's going on?
Well, it's just because we're trying to stop people coming in front of the camera, you see. So I was doing a little bit of the stop, but then I just caught you in my ear.
Well, thank you very much for keeping law and order, as always, Alex. Tell us, what's going on down there?
So, as you heard in the introduction, we are here at Boardroom 2030, and I'm really pleased to be joined by Ian and Jack from Good Energy, who have been on the stage today talking a bit about what they do. So, Ian, do you want to tell us a little bit about Good Energy and what you're doing here today?
Sure. So, Good Energy is a renewable energy company. We are all about giving people the solutions to climate change. So, getting them involved in what their solutions are and using renewable energy in their homes and their businesses. As a business that cares about climate change, we, about a bit more than a year ago, decided that we needed to kind of incorporate our purpose within our business. So, we're all about trying to protect the future and young people's future, but those young people didn't necessarily have a voice within the business. So we decided to formally rectify that by introducing our youth board, which we call our Good Future Board. So the 6 members, they're all kind of secondary school age. Jack is one of our fantastic members, and they help us hold us to account on our purpose, basically. So, tell us when we're being less than ethical, or just making sure that we're kind of on the right track and tackling climate change like we say we're going to.
Fantastic. And so, Jack, you're on this board. So how has it been being on the board so far? And have you been holding Ian and Good Energy to account?
Yeah, it's been really good. Really good to learn about how the energy sector works and how the business works and just how businesses work in general. So we've been talking to them about some of their decisions, about whether they went B Corp or not. So we had a conversation on Slack, about that, which is a channel a bit like WhatsApp online.
Fantastic. And how did you end up being, so from what I heard on stage earlier, there was quite a lot of people that wanted to be involved in this. So what led you to want to be involved in this?
Yeah, so I heard about it, I can't remember where, and I thought I'd give it a shot, because why not? So I applied and we had to write a personal statement, and then now I'm here, I suppose.
And did you enjoy speaking in front of about well over 100 people in there today?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so, Ian, what's it like having young people sort of hold you to account? I guess it's a very different dynamic for boards to have these voices with what will be a much different perspective telling you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong as well.
Yeah, so our CEO, Nigel Pocklington, the other day, I was talking to him about our board, and he revealed to me that he's actually much more scared of our Good Future Board than he is of our group grown-up board, if you like, because he knows what they're going to ask. They're going to ask about the financials of the business and the stuff that you would expect to come from a board. Our youth board, they have a completely different perspective. They're thinking about completely different things and what's in the future, and they're getting to grips with understanding the business and thinking outside of the box, and not necessarily within those kind of formal channels that we're all used to when you get older and you start thinking about things in a kind of stereotypical way, basically. So that's precisely where these guys add value to us, and how they help us is by not thinking in the same normal ways that the rest of us grown-ups do, basically.
Fantastic. And so, Jack, what kind of suggestions have you been offering on the future board already?
So we were talking about like whether they should become a B Corp, and B Corp is a kind of a certification about like an ethical business, and I was maybe suggesting like a C Corp, which would be the same but like a carbon version of that. And so we kind of just discussing ideas there, on which has been really good.
So some really advanced level discussions going on between these boards, and so you feel it really adds value to your company. Have decisions been made on the basis of what the young board is sort of giving to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one good example. It's not the only thing that the board have talked about, but we are looking to become a B Corp. Started on that journey now. Pretty standard as an ethical business. They've really helped us with things like our planning around diversity and inclusion, our recruitment. They're really useful for that. We as a business constantly need to be recruiting bright, young people who are interested in green jobs, and the Good Future boards just kind of show they're like a beacon to those kind of people who recognise that we have put that in the forefront of our business, and so they want to come and work for us. So that's been really valuable.
Fantastic. And so, Jack, what are your hopes for the future? How much longer are you on the Good Future job, and what do you see happening after that?
So I've been on it for just over a year, and I think we're going to continue till maybe February next year. So I'm hoping that more energy companies will be like Good Energy and provide 100% renewable energy.
Fantastic. And what about yourself, Ian? What are your hopes from today's meeting and going forward for Good Energy?
Met lots of inspired people. Part of the point of having our youth board is inspiring other people to do something similar. And it seems like everybody is engaged with that idea here, as you would expect at an event, which is all about that. Hopefully we've shared some wisdom about, having gone on that journey and figured out how it can all work. So that's definitely a big hope for me, as well as, learning more from our board. They've spent the last year really learning about quite a tumultuous time in the energy industry, it's fair to say. But couldn't really be any better time to learn, they're going to be helping us with much more decisions over the next year or two.
Fantastic. Well, lovely to meet you both. I'm going to let you shoot off and get some lunch now as well. Going to go back over to you, Pudge, and then we're going to find some more people to speak to here at Boardroom 2030 at the Eden Project. It's a lovely day. Everyone's having a good time by the looks of it. So more to come from us here at the Eden Project in a little bit. I'm now with Alan Moore from the School for Beautiful Business, who we've got just before he goes and gives what I'm sure is going to be a fantastic presentation. Alan, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. Looking forward to speaking this afternoon, and I've very much enjoyed this morning's conversations.
Fantastic. So can you give us a little bit of insight into what it is you're going to be discussing with everyone this afternoon?
I am. Well, it's based on two books that I've written called Do Design, Why Beauty is Key to Everything, and Do Build, How to Make and Lead a Business the World Needs. So I'm really going to make the case around why we need to reconnect to this word beauty, how that connects to regeneration, and actually how businesses now and in the future really need to be rethinking what they do and how they do it to create a more beautiful world.
And so do you think then we've sort of lost touch with that idea of sort of setting up business and how we think about society in terms of the natural world?
Yeah, so essentially I think we need to go back to this idea of what reason are you in business? Who is business serving? What is growth? What is profitability? The idea that perhaps you might be creating legacy with your business, and that idea of moving from an economy based on extraction to one which is based on, as I said, regeneration. And to me, that is based on the deep laws of nature. So we say nature's run the longest R&D project we've ever known, and she's learned to hang around for quite a long time. So perhaps if we want to hang around for a bit longer and to leave a world better for our kids and their generations that come after them, reconnecting to that idea of beauty at its fundamental level might not be such a bad idea.
Absolutely right, and I think that's really key, isn't it, about how can we work alongside nature rather than being so extractive. And I guess events like today are really important in order for you to be able to disseminate those ideas about how to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, I say that we need as many beautiful leaders and makers as we can get. And the more people that we can get inspired by that idea and to be activated, in a sense, so I'm very interested in that word, in a way that is going to get people to think, yes, I really can do this in a different way. Business is not this, profit for profit's sake. It needs to be evil. It needs to do all of these things. Actually, it can do and operate in a wonderful way, in the same way that the natural world does. And I think that we are part of nature, actually. So it's just about reconnecting to who we really are as ourselves.
Brilliant. And it must be so inspiring for you as well to hear particularly the young voices coming through. And I guess that interlinks really well with what you're going to be talking about.
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic. I think that, albeit on the daily media, we see a world that looks pretty in distress, economically, socially, politically. I mean, obviously we've got a war going on now, so it doesn't look great. But on the other hand, I think young people come with a really different set of values and a desire, and I think our current governments aren't really representing what all of these wonderful people here truly want and desire. And so I think it's time for their voices to be heard and to be part of that new world that we've got to make.
Absolutely. And what are your hopes then from today? And what do you want people to go away from after obviously hearing yourself and networking with everyone today?
Well, I've just got a small part to play in all of this. There's a much bigger conversation going on, and I think people feeling energised by the idea that they can participate, that there is something you can do. I think a lot of people feel when what we're looking at feels a magnitude of scale, which is I can do nothing, whereas actually everybody has a role to play in all of this. If we look at the natural world, from microorganisms to the supernatural size of the cosmos, all of that is in constant interplay with each other all of the time. We're all exactly the same. It's just a mindset that people have, which is there is nothing I can do. And it doesn't matter actually whether you're creating something which is going to be, I don't know, a world-changing business at scale, or you're doing something within your local community that is just working to help people, adjust, develop, evolve, whatever. You're all playing a really, really important contribution. And I think this is what this event really kind of should be helping people to understand and be encouraged by.
Fantastic, and great to hear about us talking about that dialectical relationship and that interconnectivity. I think it's very, very important. Well, it's been lovely to speak to you, Alan. I'm going to let you go and prepare for your big moment on stage, and come back to Pudge in the studio, and then we'll be back with more conversations with more inspirational people. I'm now with someone who was here right at the beginning of the Eden project and is now the director of interpretation. Jo, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
And tell me a little bit about what's going on today and how have you found it so far?
Well, we got Boardroom 2030. We are imagining we're in 8 years' time in a boardroom, working with young people, listening to the views of young people. What should we be doing now in 2020 in order to be net zero by 2030? We haven't got very long. It's only 8 years.
And you were on stage earlier as well with a very diverse and very interesting sort of live board going on. What was that like? What was the conversation like that you were having?
It was absolutely fascinating. We had this amazing conversation with 4 very diverse young people. One thing that really struck me is the people on the stage, obviously, well, they were a bit nervous like we all were, but they were happy to speak. But we spoke about the hidden voices, so people who wouldn't sit up on the stage and say things, and those people have so much to offer. So how can we tap into people of all ages and all diversities who have quiet voices, who have hidden voices, and have something really important to say, and make sure they're not forgotten and it's not the loudest who just get heard. So that was a really good lesson I learned from this morning. And also we are going to set up a youth advisory board.
And when is that going to be set up then? Is that an immediate thing?
Well, I don't know, because we just decided this morning. No, we've already decided to have youth ambassadors, because we realised it was a gap and we needed to listen more. We do listen to young people, but we wanted to put it into a more formal official capacity. So we're bringing ambassadors, young ambassadors, onto the trust and onto the board. But also it's really important. I think we have a have a forum of young people who we can listen to and learn from across all sectors, because we work in science and we have a science advisory board, and it's really important to have a young person on that board with new views, an art advisory board who helps us to choose what artworks we have for the Eden Project. And up until now we've had a very diverse group, but I don't think anybody under the age of 25. So really important.
Amazing. And why do you think it's so important as well to bring together so many people from so many different backgrounds as well, to not only sort of listen to the conversations on stage, but to participate in them as well at the tables?
I think it's absolutely vital, because everybody has a voice. We're all part of a massive interconnected web. There's several billion of us on this planet. Everybody has a voice, and we all need to work together, because together we can actually make a difference. And we've only got a few years. We have to get to net zero by 2050. We're going for 2030, because you have to do it, and you have to do it now. And it's about involving everybody. It's about involving all businesses. It's about involving education sector. It's about involving all the charities and the NGOs, and it's only together with all the different voices and all the different views that we can get there. In terms of climate change, we have the technology solutions, they exist. We have the nature-based solutions, they exist. What we need is speed. We need things to speed up. We need things to be done more quickly. And to do that, we need policy changes. We need people to take action of all scales, across of all sectors.
Absolutely, and that message of interconnectivity has really shone through today, really understanding that we're not separate from nature and we're not separate from one another. And so what are your hopes then sort of beyond today in terms of what this, today's meeting will do? Because I'm assuming you don't want it to just be today, you want it to be in the future, that people take these ideas with them.
I think this today is a catalyst for change. So occasionally you need a kick up the bum, and it's like, okay, here we are, we're doing all this good stuff, but we can do so much more, we can do things so much better. So many different voices can come to the table, and we can take inspiration from others and learn so much more from others. So this is a catalyst today, the beginning of a journey. We've made so many contacts with people. In the last couple of hours, we've all exchanged, addresses and emails. And not only that, we've also started to look at action and what we're going to do. As I said, we're going to set up this youth forum. We've been talking to one of the panel who looked at food sustainability. Can we look at new novel foods in the restaurants? Can we try out insect foods? We're looking at a new sustainable food policy here at Eden, because we're expanding across the world, looking at food systems rather than food products. We need the voices of these young people to tell us what to put on the menu and how to approach it. So we're already working together.
Fantastic, and really great to hear all the work that you're doing here at Eden as well. Well, thank you very much to Joe for talking with us. Pudge, coming back to you again for a song, and then I've got a bit of a queue here forming of people who want to come and talk to us. So we'll come back to you for just a moment, and then we'll have another person to speak to in just a minute's time. I'm pleased to be joined by Eddie Altman, physicist. How are you doing, Eddie?
Very good, thank you. It's an inspiring day, and I feel very empowered right now.
So tell me a little bit, a physicist, what is it that you do, and how are you coming to be here today?
Wow, physicist in the broadest sense of the term is that I graduated from physics last year at Manchester. I'm here because of my work in education of young people and empowering them by giving them ideas within real world problem solving. So businesses will give us problems, we will then give them to the students who will then come up with solutions, and they will pitch them back to the businesses. So we've done a lot of work with the Welsh healthcare system in terms of designing new hospitals, and I also do a lot of sort of sustainability research around food and charities who want to improve their sustainability footprint.
Amazing. And earlier today you were on the live board on stage. How did you find the conversation that took place there?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I was honoured to be surrounded by the people I was surrounded by. The young people who were around me had great ideas, and I think it was a really well-balanced board of people from creative industries to business to activism to science, and it was an honour to be the only boy involved. I would like to see more women in industry and in public speaking and stuff. So yeah, super engaging, and Eden seemed to be up and open for everything. We're in talks right now to create a board at the moment for the future of Eden. So super exciting and super fun.
Yeah, Joe was talking a little bit about that youth board that they want to put into practice already. We were talking just a little bit off air there about what you were saying in terms of science has had a difficulty in terms of communicating. So I guess being around artists and activists in these different groups can really help to deal with that problem.
Well, both my parents are artists actually, so when I went to study physics at uni, I noticed the communication skills were really lacking. My lecturers may be able to do the most complex derivations in the world, but they couldn't explain their ideas effectively that well. For one exception, one of my lecturers was Brian Cox, the TV scientist, and he got made a lot of fun of at uni because he couldn't do the derivations and he couldn't memorize things, but what he could do was explain things in a way that anyone could understand. And I want to be able to make the next generations of scientists, just like Brian, become the thinkers and the communicators that they need to be, well-rounded humans and not just all about academia.
Amazing. What a person to learn from as well. And today, we've got hundreds of people here from lots of different businesses having lots of different conversations. What are your hopes from today in terms of, what will come out of it?
Connections, mainly. I want this to be the spark, that ignites lots and lots of fires around Cornwall, that get people burning and thinking differently about how they can solve problems, how they can communicate better, how everything is connected, and how you shouldn't compartmentalize everything, And I think it will. I think it will inspire a lot.
And that seems to be a big thing that you've been talking about, is the empowerment of young people. How important do you think that is moving forward?
Well, they're the future, firstly. And it's not just young people, but young people are a really useful tool because young people go home and they talk to their parents, and that is often a really good way to get people in higher positions to understand problems. Because if your child is telling you should eat less meat, or why don't we get an electric car, that's way more motivating than just seeing something on the news or seeing something on there. So they're a really useful tool for the moment, but they'll also be the next generation of thinkers.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Fantastic to hear from Eddie there, physicist. I hear on Facebook there's only 2 Eddie Altmans, though. There's yourself and a pug.
Yeah. So if you see a pug on Facebook, that's not me. I'm the one who may look like a dog, but isn't a dog.
Fantastic. Yeah, don't make friends with the pug on Facebook. Back to you, Pudge. And then I believe we might have one more guest to speak to. Maybe we might even just come and have a chat with you, Pudge, but we'll see you when the song's time.
We've been chatting to Alex and a lot of guests over at the Eden Project for Boardroom 2030. It's 12 minutes to 1. We got a little bit of time left just to have a little bit of a wrap up with Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Pudge. Yeah, I feel like I've been speed dating.
You've been doing it very well there. I've been having to get some songs in. By the time I've started playing a song, I'm being told, "Oh, he's ready," and I'm like, "What? You've done this before? You've done a bit of speed dating before?"
No, never needed to, Pudge. But we've got obviously Henry behind the scenes doing a fantastic job of getting all the guests in. There's just so many people who've got physicists. Joe, who was here at the beginning of the Eden sessions. You obviously had Ian and Jack from Good Energy talking about the youth boards. There's a huge amount of different and diverse work going on, which obviously makes it easy for us to find people who we want to speak to.
Absolutely, and what I've really loved is how many of you guests, I think all of them, have all sort of come together and said one very similar thing, and talking about the younger generation being the people we need to be listening to, those with the different ideas that really are going to shape our tomorrow.
Absolutely, and also that idea of interconnectivity. This idea, that we've all essentially got to do something because, whether rich, poor, black, white, male, female, if the earth goes up and, in flames, there's nowhere for us to go. So, but I think the real thing is there isn't a kind of doom and gloom energy around here. There's a real sort of optimism and hope because you've got so many people who want to do something and actually are trying to put plans into action. And I think that's the really inspiring element, young people, inspiring people who are working right now, older generations as well, and them trying to find solutions to all work together and deal with this problem that we all face.
Absolutely, and something I'm really loving about this is a lot of the time we hear of groups coming together around the world to try and sort problems out, and they'll talk and then nothing will happen for a very long time or even ever. Well, right now we've just heard that there's a board literally being put together now for something to do with Eden.
That's it, a youth board being set up by the Eden Project, and there's already that immediate sort of thing going. It's not just tokenism; it's actual concrete action that is happening. And there's now going to be a talk from Alan, who we heard from earlier, who's going to talk about that importance of businesses not just being so profit driven and money driven, but to actually look at how we work with the environment, how we make better conditions for people working in these businesses as well. And so these conversations are really important to how we move forward as a society. So it's really really impressive that it's going on in Cornwall, which does seem to be at the forefront of the response to climate change.
Absolutely fantastic. Yes, like you said, and with the Eden Project now also spreading its wings, shall we say, with similar projects now going to start popping up around the world. Hopefully, we can have similar talks like this in other countries to come together and all, as a worldwide sort of consortium, maybe come together and spread these ideas together and actually put action to those words.
Well, what I'm getting from that, Pudge, is that we want to send me around the world to have these conversations and build that. I'm getting a thumbs up from Joe for that idea. We can even do where in the world on that basis as well. So just an idea I'm pitching.
You know what? If it means I get a little bit of inside info of where in the world it is, just so I can have a go against Owen here in the studios, I am more than up for that. I could just see you now in Hawaii, enjoying yourself there, maybe topless. Just sort of maybe not do that. Actually, let's not talk about that one. Anyway, Alex, any final words?
Pudge, okay. I think you've had the final word there, Pudge. We're going to go and get a little bit of lunch and maybe speak to a few more people later on that you'll get to see on another occasion. But yeah, no, it's a great day that we're having here at the Eden Project, and look forward to speaking to you more later.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Alex, and obviously Henry and Joe and everyone that's there and all of your guests. Looks like a great day there at Eden. I'm sure we'll be back with them again later in the show to see what else they've been up to at Boardroom 2030.
Hello, we're still here at Boardroom 2030 here at the beautiful Eden Project. Lovely sunny day, as you can see. I'm now with Simon from Leap, one of the people to blame for today. How you doing, Simon?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Beautiful day. Really lucky to get this amount of people actually attend on this. So yeah, really chuffed that it's actually happened.
It seems to have been a fantastic event so far. We've spoken to loads of the people involved. We're talking about the interconnectivity, the need for sustainability, young people inspiring. What's been your highlights of today so far?
Yeah, I think it has been around the young people, because there is the kind of element of some organisations engaging with young people, but just as a tokenistic gesture rather than really engaging with them. And I think this today has been the opportunity to really hear their voices. And it wasn't always the main thing, because it was always talking about future, but you know, we're talking future generations. I've got 2 kids. Listening to them and their concerns and their worries and stuff like that. Something that when I grew up, I didn't have those things on my kind of agenda when I was growing up. So, you know, it's really important to the businesses to start to take some action now. And that's the whole day today is actually, okay, we want businesses to then start to take some actual action in terms of what they're thinking, because you know 2030 isn't that far away, but what needs to happen is not think about it and then not do anything about it. So yeah, I'm really pleased to see the diversity, the amount of businesses that are here, different shapes and sizes, different organisations, some people that aren't as maybe sustainable or as community focused have turned up, and that's really good, because you know it's not just about the organisations that already do it, it's about the organisations that don't do it at the moment, and they find meaning to be able to actually make that change and take it through.
I guess that's almost even more important, isn't it, to get the ones who aren't doing as much as they should be and putting them in the room with the ones who are, because then that's how they'll learn.
Yeah, exactly. We've always said, you know, as an organisation, we've always been seen as a fairly green organisation. Sometimes that's put other organisations off with engaging us because they don't think they're green enough. But we now have a bit of a mantra that everyone should have a seat at the table, and that does include the oil companies, the other organisations around there, because actually we need to all do this. It's not just a select few that need to actually make this change, and you know, everyone needs to be involved in it, and those little changes and those big changes will start to add up if we get the right momentum behind it. And I think that's important. Momentum is the key here, is that we need to build that and galvanise that kind of way of doing business.
And from the conversations that have been happening and the things that are being said, what kind of tangible sort of efforts do you think are going to get put into place moving forward? Or what kind of tangible things would you like to see put into action?
I think the tangible thing is definitely that if anyone is thinking about the conversations that they have at their monthly meetings, whether they've got a board or not, that they're actually starting to put people on planet on those conversations on a monthly, weekly, daily basis. So that's definitely something tangible. And then also making sure that they've got different diversity of voices during those conversations. And we're starting, we're doing that as an organisation. Yeah, we're a sustainable organisation, but we need to listen to different diversity of people. We do. The design industry is typically a bit middle class as well, so we need to open up ourselves as an industry. And how do we do that? So I'd like to see those tangible things happen, even if it's starting the conversation and bringing the right people in. Then fingers crossed, really, on that.
And in terms of Boardroom 2030, will this be a one-off event, or are you seeing this as potentially something that will happen more times in the future?
So the idea of it is that Boardroom 2030 was an activation. B Lab started it. The idea was then organisations do it individually, and we did it. We got inspired, and that's why me and Matt decided to come up with the idea. Actually, Cornwall needs to do this. So we've been very lucky. We're the kind of first county-wide activation like this. So I'd love places like Bristol, Devon, you name it, doing a similar thing. And I'm hoping that even the conversations that I've had with some of the people like at B Lab, they're going to rave about how good this event was. And then one happens in Scotland, one happens in Wales, Bristol, all over the place. So that's what I would like to see. It needs that, again, momentum is the key thing.
Absolutely, fantastic. Well, good to speak to you, Simon, and hear about why you've set up this event. And plenty more still going on here at Boardroom 2030. And hopefully, as we're talking about, we'll really see that tangible change moving forward. So back to you guys in the studio. Hello, we're still here at Boardroom 2030, and I'm pleased to now be joined by the Chief Activation Officer, Si. How you doing, Si?
I'm great, and after the energy in that room, you can't be anything but great, to be honest.
So tell me, Chief Activation Officer. I've never met anyone who is a Chief Activation Officer. What does that entail?
Here's your first. Well, effectively, it's looking at this wonderful site here. So getting Eden's 21 years old this year, in fact, and it's about looking to the future. So starting to look at Eden as our future project, not just a legacy project, and trying to say what do we need to do to build Eden, to improve it for the future, and kind of seeing Eden as a small town of kind of 10,000 people. What do we need to activate? What do we need to change? What do we need to build to really build that sustainable future, such by 2030 we are in fact climate positive, and we're basically sequestering more carbon than we're emitting, and doing some good stuff along the way as well for our visitors.
Fantastic. And so hosting Boardroom 2030 today, you've been on stage today as well. What's it been like in there? What have the conversations been like?
Probably one of the most fun boardrooms I've ever had, let's put it that way. Hey, I think it's inspiring might be an overplayed word today, but the sense of being able to meet face to face again with people and be in a room, I've used the word energy as well. It's been so long since we can create an environment and convene people together around a subject, and having different voices, different perspectives, particularly from different youth groups from kind of 18 to 25, I've just found not only refreshing, but it's kind of holding the mirror up to kind of take some of the perceptions that maybe we've built up or I've built up over the last couple of years and just go, okay, there's a huge weight of other voices that we need to bring into our thinking. So it's been awesome to have that.
And speaking of the youth, already a tangible action that Joe was telling us earlier that you're taking by the creation of a youth board here at Eden.
Well, kind of activation officer, I'm keen to get things done and keep it moving. And after discussion this morning with our chief executive, Rob Chatwin, really keen to really explore what a youth advisory panel could mean. And we want to make it happen. So we're going to put it out there. Got commitment straight away from those people who are with us today. We've created that relationship between us. We've already started working together the last couple of weeks in preparation for this. Let's not waste that energy, again, that word, and let's see if we can get some positive impact out of it.
Absolutely. And of course, big plans for Eden at the moment, the many sites that are going to be opening down the line. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, look at this place here, and Eden is going from single site to multi-site, and inspired by today, we're kind of 2030. By 2030 we could have another 5 Edens globally, but particularly in the UK, Eden Project North in Morecambe, which is an incredible site for many reasons. But again, that site is going to tell the story about the natural rhythms, particularly inspired by the rhythms of Morecambe Bay. And if this place has been inspired by people and plants, that really is about our rhythms with nature. Then, of course, we've got Dundee, another one. Now, these Dundee and Morecambe, different paces with the projects, but another one we're looking forward to bringing to life. Another regeneration in kind of an old gasworks in Dundee. Really excited about that. And one that's in build and opens next year is Eden Project in Qingdao, in partnership with our Chinese partners. And there's a place for us whereby, you know, the numbers of people that can see that project and we can inspire and generate change, and that movement, which more than anything else is the most important thing for us. We're really excited to see what the Chinese make of it, and engaging, you know, a new visitor audience both physically and digitally in China from next year.
Fantastic, huge plans and very inspiring. And out of today's sort of meeting, what are the hopes you're thinking people will take from today's discussions?
I was just chatting to a few people now, and I think there's been a number of sound bites and a number of ideas, and it's whether the people can take those ideas and reflect upon them, whatever they may be. And if even half the room takes away a tenth of the things that have come out today, then we would have created change. And whether that's a small organisation that says, I'd like to create a youth panel, and they invite people into that, or whether it's the sense people reappraise their relationship with nature, and because of that they engage a bit more, they look at their supply chains, they look at what their business actually means, and does it matter? And we just heard from Alan Moore talking about how the design questions, and does it matter at one end, and are you leaving a legacy? There's so much in between those things. So ultimately with events like this, people are going to hear so much stuff, but what are those takeaways? And probably it may take a few days for that to percolate out, but impact's the thing.
Absolutely, and I couldn't really think of a better place to hold Boardroom 2030 than Eden itself. So it's been lovely chatting to you, Si, and getting to know a bit about what's going on. Going to throw it back, and then I think we might have one more person we're going to speak to before we leave Boardroom 2030 today.
Hello, we're here at Boardroom 2030 at the Eden Project, and I am joined by Zoe from Cornwall Chamber of Commerce. How are you, Zoe?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Fantastic. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really great day.
It's amazing. The sun's out. Everyone's in. It's great.
Just about. Thank you. Well, a few late
It's starting to get busy. Everyone's excited to be here. So, yeah, it's going to be a good day.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about what it is you do and why you're here today.
Yep. So I'm the membership executive for the Cornwall Chamber of Commerce. So basically we have over 800 members across Cornwall and the Southwest. They come in, we help them with their business, networking, events, different things like that. And I try and keep them in, basically. Making lots of friends along the way, lots of connections. And yeah, that's me. And we're here today to see what we can do to get involved with the whole B Corp certifications, companies, meet new people and see what we can do to help. So.
And for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about what B Corp actually is.
Okay, so as far as I'm aware, B Corp is where companies are heading out to be as sustainable as possible in their companies. So I spoke to a couple of people who have said it's even down to the soaps that you're using in your bathrooms, where you're getting your products from, where their origin is, that kind of thing. So yeah, so it's lots of different things I think to take into consideration, and yeah, becoming regenerative businesses and looking after the planet, moving forward for our future generations.
And what do you think Cornwall Chamber of Commerce's role will be in that, sort of trying to move businesses in Cornwall towards that sort of more sustainable practice?
Yeah, so I think we're doing everything we can to make everybody aware of the practices they need to be doing to get in that direction, and we're just trying our hardest to be involved in it in any way, really. So we are in September, we're holding what's called Planet C, so Planet Cornwall. We've got a whole week of events surrounding sustainability in the planet. On the Wednesday, we've got a sustainability conference. We've got a big breakfast here at Eden Project. On the Tuesday, I believe it is. And yeah, it's just about bringing awareness to Cornwall. And I think the thing is with Cornwall is I feel like we are leaders in all this. You know, we're very close to the ocean, we love our countryside, we love our county, and yeah, we're just becoming the leaders in it, I think, hopefully.
Yeah, I know producer Henry's ears will be pricking up about that week of events. He'll be wanting us to get involved with that.
Yeah, just get in touch with us. There's loads of stuff going on. Any events that anybody wants to hold during that week as well, just get in touch and we can help promote them. And yeah, we'll be trying to go along to all of them ourselves. So, yeah.
And lastly, what are you hoping to get out of today in terms of the event?
Lots of learning on a personal level and on a commercial level, I think. Meeting as many people as I can in the B Corp certified area, and yeah, just seeing what we can do to help and move forward with it.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Zoe. So,
no worries.
Boardroom 2030, it's going to be a fantastic day of events. We're going to be talking to plenty more people today as well. But we're going to go back over to you and go and find some more people to speak to.
Hello, still here at Boardroom 2030, and I'm now here with the mastermind behind it all. You'll know him from our shows on Chaos TV. Matt, how you doing?
Yeah, really good. Well, good to be here. Fantastic that Chaos could come and join us as well. And well, I've got this beautiful day in front of my old patch where I used to work 20 years ago, and just bringing Boardroom 2030 to Cornwall and 120 people, businesses, young people, young voices. I'm just so excited. And actually, you know, the biggest thing for me is when I got to see the young people on stage. I don't know if you caught that moment earlier when we had Sonetta and Ed and Amelia and Oana, just all of them there expressing what their hopes were for the future. I had a complete glint in my eye. So yeah.
Fantastic. And it does seem to have been a day of, lots of conversations, but already tangible action from Eden, who were talking about the setting up of a youth board.
I know. So this was kind of my little hook and hope, because one, that as you've seen, like yourselves, some fantastic people have gathered here today. But I hoped behind the scenes, we've been running little workshops, so Eden had already met some of them, but they weren't going to know what the actual questions were going to be asked and stuff. So that they got that excited, and you could see that opening their mind going, yeah, we need to have these conversations now. Let's stop talking about it. Let's not wait longer. Let's get these young people on our board. And I think that's it. And I think the role of business and to nurture has to, really radically shift. And, having youth voices of all diversities in earlier and giving them sort of a level playing field, rather than going, no, you have to work up through the business step by step by step. That doesn't have to be. You can learn, of course, new areas of the business, but I think this is the opportunity, is to get these new perspectives and this very tumultuous decade, and hopefully take us to a really beautiful place. As Alan Moore, who I was also equally excited to have here, was talking about beautiful business and regenerative business. So yeah, a day of conversations, and I couldn't be happier.
And also bringing together as well companies that aren't necessarily the most sustainable yet, with those who are maybe leading the way a little bit more. And I guess that's the most important thing, not just speaking to the converted, so to speak, but getting those who need to be changed as well.
Yeah, brilliantly brought up. So yeah, that was one of the things. So I had a good friend, Amanda Brookman from Coast Project in earlier, and she goes, oh my God, Matt, it's so nice to not see the usual faces that we would normally get on an environmental sort of conference or day. And I was like, yeah, well, the nice thing is, all the people that came here today didn't actually know what they were coming to. We gave them a hint, but we sold out without ever saying who the speakers were, who was going to be there. And we haven't got any big speakers that, well known or anything like that. We just got speakers that speak truth at all different levels. And I think, yeah, that the diversity, I mean, there's still a long way to go for diversity in Cornwall and inclusion, but it was just great to bring everyone here today, and hopefully just inspire various different thoughts from, I can do this, or we should have this conversation, or let's go back to our team and get our team members from, the shop floor to upper management together and have a conversation about what it is to be in business.
Fantastic, and long way to go, but we're taking tangible steps here today at Boardroom 2030. Beautiful sunny day here at the Eden Project, and hopefully plenty of change on the way after today's discussions. So that's it for Boardroom 2030 here at the Eden Project in St Austell. An absolutely fantastic event with great people that we've spoken to on everything from beauty and business to sustainability, young people on boards, and some of the founding members of the Eden Project itself. So hopefully from here we're going to see the businesses that have gathered actually move forward with the ideas discussed and create more sustainable practice and greener businesses that actually work to tackle climate change in the future. So from me, Alex, here at the Eden Project from Boardroom 2030, hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.